Welcome back. Well, today I am joined by Geneva Benza, who is here on behalf of the Garden Club with her guest, Karine Polikin. And she is going to talk to us about bees and how important they are to our garden. Well, welcome both of you to the show. Very nice to meet you and see you again, Geneva.
Same here.
And Corinne, thank you for joining us. I really am excited to hear all about bees. We had a little bit of an opportunity to talk off camera, so I'm really looking forward to the discussion. But before we get into that, Geneva, tell me about the Garden Club. What have you guys been doing, and what's kind of going to happen this year?
Well, we have been doing a lot of things. We have trips and the garden fair in April, which is the same time every year, our normal meeting day, which is the fourth Wednesday of every month. The garden fair just happens to be earlier at 11 instead of our normal 2 o'clock. And we also have walks, garden walks, which are for our members, designed to show either different vegetation or holiday decorations and that kind of thing. And we have our Christmas celebration. I should say, we have our holiday celebration in December as well.
So you were busy over the holidays, which is great. And let's go ahead and get a background on Karine. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for having me. I started learning about honeybees when I was doing my master's degree. Actually, I was doing my master's degree in horticulture and agriculture from the University of Minnesota. And I had to have electives in my flowers and, classes. And I said, okay, what do I do now? And I look at the catalog and I'm like, oh, there's something about insects and honeybees in particular. So I jumped into it and I met the teacher, a great mentor, Dr. Marla Spivak. She's a renowned scientist, in the world, actually. And I had the chance to be in her classes, and I took all her classes. I was so happy, and I said, oh, I should have done something in entomology instead of horticulture. And she said, well, you can always do another master's or a PhD if you want. I said, no, I'm good. This is how I started. And then after that, she offered me a job at their lab. And I said, yes, we're going to do that. And what we did with Dr. Spivak, she was working on pesticides and to see what are the ramifications when we use pesticide, either in agriculture or in our own garden. And we found out some detrimental effects, obviously, on honeybee workers, but also on queens. And so that's why when I speak a little bit to gardeners or people that want to know about things, I said, sometimes you should just put your bottle of pesticide away and do it by hand or use your hose and, just be careful because there's other little things that you don't see necessarily.
Exactly. Well, that's really great research because, as I had mentioned to you off camera, is that there has been discussion about a potential bee extinction. And are you guys seeing that? Is that really a true thing?
Well, what happened is sometimes I think the media, make it a big thing. It is true that we have problems with honeybees. And what happened is when we talk about honeybees, we need to be precise what we're talking about. First of all, people say bees in general. Bees, encompass a lot of insects. Actually, you have bumblebees and you have all the native bees that we have in California or anywhere else. So when we say that bees are collapsing, like that's the word you hear about a lot, it's because we need to make a distinction between the managed honeybees, so the beekeepers that are having honeybees or, to do pollination. And there's also honeybees in the wild that exist. And so those are not being extinct. Those are not affected so much compared to the one that we keep as beekeepers in our hives. So those are the ones that are having a lot of problems because of a lot of pesticide use. Also, the beekeepers put some medication inside their hives too to make the bees survive other things, parasites that they have, for instance.
Sure.
So this is what it is. I'd say that I'm optimistic. I don't think we're going to lose honeybees, but we just have to be careful and make sure that people understand that we need to love them. We need to help them along.
And that's what I'm hoping, that it sounds as though, Geneva, this is what you're going to incorporate into your talk, that Corinne is going to do, and you are going to have a bee discussion. So let's talk about the event that's coming up.
Well, it's going to be at Clubhouse 1 at 2 o'clock on January 25th.
Right. Perfect. And is it just strictly, Corinne, you're strictly going to be the presenting, and how is that going to work? Is it going to be, I know you're going to be physically there in person, so are you talking about how to incorporate bees into the garden, or what is your planned discussion?
Yeah, I think what I'm going to talk about is, you know, how the bees are in general. I'm going to also talk about, I think it's important because we live in such a beautiful place in Southern California. We have a lot of native bees, and people don't know too much about that. We have a ton of bees that we need to care about, not just honeybees. So I'm going to talk about the native bees in California. We need to protect them. I'm going to talk a little bit also, obviously, about honeybees. I'm going to talk about something that's people think it's very interesting. We need to think like a honeybee, meaning that, okay, I'm here in the garden and I need to feed my hive. So where I'm going, where is better, how fast can I go there and come back with the provisions to feed the little ones? And that's very challenging for honeybees. Now I'm going to be also on the side of the gardeners. What can I plant in my garden, in my little small garden in California, to attract me, the little bee that wants to go there and forage? And maybe if I have time, I'd like to touch a little bit also on pesticide uses or not using them, because I'm not against pesticide, but there's ways to mitigate things that we can have.
Right.
So that's about it. And I'm going to bring some props. I'm going to bring some books. I'm going to bring some other little things for people to look at. I think it's always fun to interact that way as well.
Yeah, visuals are always a good idea. So Geneva, you know, as you know, we've talked many times before about the little gardens that we do have here. Many people have patio homes, or they're really just planting things on their porch or their balconies. You know, and some people don't necessarily like bees to come to their patio, you know, I mean, they're afraid they're going to get stung. But truly, you know, what are some of the questions that are being asked of you, Geneva, about this particular subject? Anything in particular?
I've been talking to people who are quite excited to learn more about bees. Most people that I talk to really want to help them.
Good.
And I'm telling them, oh, you know, bees are very basically gentle, and we're going to learn how to be amongst them safely. And I'm so excited because I know there is maybe a lot of people that are afraid of them, and that has not been my experience with them. I've always had them around and existed peacefully.
Okay, well, that's good, because as I mentioned, some people are afraid, and it could be maybe they've been stung before in weird circumstances, but it's not as if the bees are attacking you. And, you know, sometimes they talk about these horrific bees in other places, and you're thinking every time you see a bee, is that one of them?
Well,
and any one of you guys could talk about that, because, you know, like you mentioned, there's different kinds of bees.
Yes, that's correct. We have, but honeybees, a honeybee is not a carnivorous insect. So they're not going for you. They're just looking for sugar or pollen. So they're going to the flowers. If we get stung by honeybees, it's because we are kind of bothering them. They're trying to forage, and then you put your hand there because you're cutting your plants or whatever, and you don't pay attention. I'm not going to talk, I'm not too pro, you know, the wasps are, on the other hand, you know, they're carnivores. So they're going to come, if you eat a sandwich or whatever, they will come there because they like meat. They want to eat this stuff. And they are coming for you. I mean, you cannot coexist here. It's the sandwich or you. So, and, you know, I think when we talk to the being afraid or whatever, I can talk to people about that, because of course I have also some people who come just for that in the class, you know, hands-on, and we do 5 minutes a day, and we come, and finally they can stay a whole hour, and they can hold a frame, and they can look into a hive, and it's pretty remarkable what we can do to help others, you know, be among insects. You know, insects are not our enemies. I mean, they're beautiful for us. So hopefully I carry this, you know, when I come, and people will be more at ease with their insects that surround them.
I think that's great. And this is a really great subject. So Geneva, great job on getting this going. Again, let's just remind everybody, it's Wednesday, January 25th at 2 p.m. in Clubhouse 1. Now, guests are $5 at the door, but members are no charge. And of course, if you want more information, you can always get in touch with Geneva. And that is 610-428-3775. Thank you both so much. I appreciate the information.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We really appreciate this. The Garden Club loves the exposure.
Oh, you got it. You got it. Thank you again. And of course, if you want more information about the Garden Club, you can always go to the Laguna Woods Village website at lagunawoodsvillage.com, and you can type in the Garden Club and it'll bring you to their page. We'll be right back.